When I started the Ultraman card game with Gankun, I made a promise to him that we would try our hardest to qualify for the World Championships. Almost a year later, our first chance for that is happening. The World Championship qualifier for Ultraman card game in New York City. Preparing for card games is pretty difficult. There's hundreds of cards in the games, which means when you make a 50 card deck, there's millions of combinations and hundreds of matchups with your opponents that you have to figure out. In Ultraman's case, my deck is going to have one main Ultra Hero and one supporting Ultra Hero. I've got to figure out what combination works best against all the possible opponents' combinations that they could bring as well. And that's not all. It gets even harder. Ultraman card games qualifier format is 2-deck format. This means I need to do that twice. In the 2-deck format, I'm going to specify a deck A and a deck B, and I'm going to have to win with both decks. So both my decks are going to have to be absolutely top notch. The way I start usually is by searching the web. Now, this is where I hit my first issue. There's not a lot of coverage for the Ultraman card game because it's a pretty niche game. So we rely a lot on the popularity of the game in Japan to get some data. And when Booster Pack Set 4 comes out, I immediately start testing decks. This is the format that the New York qualifiers are going to be playing. I keep an eye out for Japan's results. And there's one big trend. Baltan. The lobster kaiju has taken over the meta and it cannot be stopped. Now this might not seem like an issue, right? Just play Baltan. Unfortunately, Baltan is ridiculously hard to build. In most of the games you would consider it a gimmick deck. A deck that uses a card that can be included as many copies as you want? That's not good, that's never good. But it's really good, and it uses 20 copies of a special promo card that we were only able to get when the game kind of started, and 24 copies of a box topper promo. That means 24 booster boxes at $80 a piece. I don't think many players in the US will be able to put that together, and I don't think I will either. Unfortunately, Baltan is absolutely crushing it in Japan, so we're going to have to find a way around it. And it also means all the trends that we see from the decks doing well in Japan are totally skewed by Baltan. So I'm going to have to figure it out myself. In order for you to understand a little bit about my thought process for choosing decks, you need to know a little bit about the basics of Ultraman card game. You build up your Ultraman by evolving them, similar to Pokemon. And the goal is to win 3 battle lanes. Every turn a new battle lane will open and you'll play Ultraman and evolve them, or level them up, so that you try to get your win in 3 lanes. Once you've got 3 wins over your opponent, then you are the victor. So now that you know how the game works a little bit, I narrow my deck down to 4 choices. Belial, an Arc variation, since there's multiple types, Rosso Blue, and Ginga Victory. Now, I know that doesn't mean anything to you, so Belial is a deck with kaiju, so made of big monsters, and those big monsters are really strong on their own. So when we're talking about playing in new lanes, I can play one strong card that can take down my opponent's 1 or 2 cards or 3 cards sometimes. It dominates the late games when opponent's hand is running low with those high-powered single cards. Arc is the strongest setup deck in the game, and it builds 3 almost unbeatable lanes when they're all fully leveled up. But it can be a little hard to get there. Rosso Blue deck is a team about the brothers Bond, and they support each other with this alternating setup that is extremely strong and has one of the sneakiest plays in the game. And finally, Ginga Victory is a very flexible deck. Instead of focusing on leveling up 3 times to build what we call a triple, it focuses on building doubles or playing cards as 2. This lets you be a lot more flexible, adapting to your opponent's strategy, and allows you to apply pressure very quickly. When I start testing, Belial is the clear standout deck. It pretty much beats everything except Baltan. And the only deck that I'm kind of worried about is the Arc deck, because if they get their full setup, I don't have any options to beat it. So I'm going to lock in Belial, but I still have to figure out my B deck. And as I continue to test, unfortunately, it becomes obvious to me that Rosso Blue, while it has some crazy hands, it's just too fragile. Trying to get that alternating setup, it just doesn't come together that well, and it kind of messes with the flow of how I want to play. So now I got to choose between Arc and Ginga. I mentioned Arc. There's 3 different variations of Arc. But the one I like the most is called Arc Dyna. It has this crazy combos, it's really flexible, and it's like my absolute favorite deck to play right now. But it's a big problem. It loses really hard to Ginga Victory, and that's the other deck that I'm thinking about playing, and I think other people are going to think about playing it too. The New York City community posted the results of their latest Galaxy Cup. It's a tournament, monthly tournament with a bit larger prizing. First place, Ginga Victory. Second place, Ginga Victory. Third place, Ginga Victory. What the heck is going on in New York City? It's Ginga Victory everywhere. I don't know if I can bring my favorite deck, Arc Dyna, if everyone's going to be playing Ginga Victory. I cope a little bit. I said, no, I can still play through it. It'll still work. And after a testing session with Gankun, it reinforces to me, I cannot play my Arc Dyna, my favorite deck, because it's too bad against Ginga Victory, and I cannot afford it. So that means my two decks are going to be Belial and Ginga Victory. I just have to learn the mirror matchup for Ginga Victory, since I think it'll be pretty common. Part of the road to the testing for New York qualifiers is the LA Comic-Con Rise Cup. I kind of expect this to be a small tournament because you have to enter the convention to do well, but it'll be good to get more practice with my Belial deck. It goes horribly, absolutely horribly. I win round 1 against a new player. Not really something to get excited about. Then I play Gankun for the team kill in round 2, and he beats me pretty hard. Then I play a Belial mirror match against one of our other friends, and I lose that too. I didn't make it to the top 8. Ugh, I hate mirror matchups. I felt like I couldn't do anything. I'm at my lowest confidence ever. My ideal deck A, Belial, got absolutely crushed, and I have to learn Ginga Victory and be ready for even more mirror matches. But I have a secret plan I haven't told you about yet. 2 days before the LA Rise Cup, Shane, the tournament organizer, mentioned that he just finished a Baltan deck. And I know Shane isn't going to NIC. Maybe he'll let me borrow it. So I DM Shane, and he says yes. Now I have easily the strongest deck in the game. Remember, I couldn't beat Gankun playing it at all. But I only have about a week left to learn it. Luckily, my testing buddy Gankun is the best player to learn Baltan deck from. It's the final week of preparations, and Baltan is ready. Let's review the deck a bit for those that don't know. Baltan has 2 cards which can include any number of copies, so you just have a fat stacks of both of those. And this is the most important card. An activate effect, exile 3 alien Baltans from your discard from the game, and for each alien Baltan you have on the field, give one of your alien Baltan plus 1000. So if you remember, as the game goes on, you add more and more lanes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So by turn 5, this is a plus 5000 to any Baltan of your choosing. It's an activate effect. It activates slower in the later parts of the game, which means your opponent really can't do anything about it. And then use just a bunch of these to level up on top of them. We're doing level 5s on top of level 6s, which makes the deck extremely consistent because about half our deck is, or just over half our deck is level 5s, and then the rest is level 6s, so you should always be able to get a consistent hand. And then the card that brings it all together is this level 6 alien Baltan, which single or double can activate to send the top 3 cards of my deck and my opponent's deck. And for every 2 kaiju cards from among them, give it plus 1000. So you're always going to be building 3 kaijus, so it'll always be a 15,000, and it gives you the cards in the discard to activate this one. So really the only weakness of this deck is if you don't draw this card, then you're kind of just stuck playing 15s, which is, don't get me wrong, playing just 15s over and over again is very, very strong. You can still win games like that. But when you have this card, it feels like you can't lose. So that's the deck for Baltan. Pretty simple. Baltan was ready and it was crushing everything. But the deck that needed work is Belial. After my crushing defeat at Rise Cup, we had to revisit the deck. Now, of course, we're playing Belial, so I'll start laying out the Belial cards. You got to play a good amount of Belials, and this is kind of where I ended up at with 3 things. So then I have 4 mystery Belials. So I'm kind of slowly unveil the process behind this deck because I think it's pretty interesting, and I think you all can learn from it. So obviously the main reasons to play Belial is Belial and Zeton, because Zeton is what Yu-Gi-Oh players might call a floodgate. It is the only card like this that can shut down strategies by itself. So there's Zetons. So most people will be playing, just to cover the Belials, most people will be playing this one, which gets a power type. I ended up playing the speed type that is 14,000. This is because I started playing that with the Malaysia Cup. I think the Malaysia qualifier winner had a bunch of these. They actually had a lot of 14,000s in their meta, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try this out. And it actually works really, really well. I'll come back to it in a little bit. And then you want some of these 17,000s, because if you can make them a double, you can use this Belial, you can bump them up to a 17, and sometimes you just need to finish off your triple with a 17, not a 16. So just a brief review of what the Belial cards do. So what this card does is a double or triple. You can activate, discard one card from your hand that is not an Ultra Hero card, so all the cards in the deck, and give one of your Belial or one of your Kaiju with printed EX BP grade, BP grade increase for one turn. So any Belials, and then you'll notice all the Zetons have 20,000 EX. This one has 20,000 EX. So these can also be boosted by your Belial. Now this is the other part. The main reason to play the deck as well is the Zetons. Realistically, Zeton is why you play the deck, and then Belial is just the best way to play Zeton. This card is when your battle opponent has a BP grade increase, you become EX grade, which is 20,000. So it just kind of locks you out of EX grading, and it's a very, very strong effect. And then this Zeton is a promo Zeton. If there's only one character name among your opponent's Ultra Heroes on the field, becomes BP grade extra, which is 20,000. So this just walls like certain decks. Like you just, it's a 20,000 against Omega, and they can't do anything about it, and they lose. So these are the two like strongest cards, and then the Belial is like the best way to support them and like actually get a good deck going with them. So that is the reasons to play Belial, and most of this is like pretty simple. It's just ratio stuff. I found 6 is a good number to build 1's triple consistently, and also be able to play 1-2s if you need to. It's just the numbers that worked out for me. So that's pretty much it. So now there's a lot more left. So we'll talk about the scenes. So I have scenes. There's 3 Geed Identity and 2 End of the World. So 5 scenes total. For a long time, it was 4 Geed Identity and 1 End of the World. But when I cut this old Belial, so the Belial that used to be in here, it gets a power grade, a BP grade increase when the opponent type is power. And without playing that card, the Geed Identity does not have that many targets left in the deck. So it's mostly just a card that you get to pick up, if to discard for, to play it, and draw cards, and it'll like kind of see. It has some uses, but it's mostly just like a get extra card in your hand. And then End of the World has to do with the mirror match. A lot of the resulting tech does have to deal with the mirror match a little bit. It's like partially was this one, being the 14,000 kind of beats all the other Belials. So if your opponent's not playing a 14,000 Belial, you're going to beat that every single time as a double. Like your double Belial versus their double Belial, you kind of always win that. So that's why we're playing these 5 scenes. I think it's getting a little crowded in here, so let's try to do that. So that's kind of the reason for the scenes, not too much. The reason we play 2 of the End of the Worlds is because it's really good in the mirror match. Like, I had to spend a lot of time figuring out how, like, I was really worried about the mirror match because I lost it I wouldn't say convincingly, but in a way that didn't feel good at the Rise Cup. I needed a better way to deal with the mirror match. I called up Pi, got some extra Belial mirror match practice right at the end, and I noticed a lot of times we were matching lanes, like putting Zetons next to each other. It's 14 versus 14, and so most of the times you want to be next player, because the way the game mechanics work, right, is if I'm next player, then I get to activate all my effects in response, which gives you a huge advantage when you have the Belials. But if you're being forced into the lead player, and you have the End of the World, then you can suddenly flip like 1 to 2 lanes that are tied, which will kind of negate the next player advantage and can give you the win. So that's why we went up to 2 of these, because I wanted to make sure that I was ready for the mirror matchup. And then, you know, we have 7 cards left in our deck. And we have to think about what's the best way to use these, because there's a lot of different ways we can use them. We can do Kyriloid. Kyriloid is very good. A lot of people are playing Mephisto. Mephisto is pretty good. And then there's these guys, Spherosaur and Dinozol. All these cards are very strong cards, and you have to figure out how to do it. And then I will spoil a little bit. There are some Golbas. So Golba is also another card that's a very strong card. How do you figure out what we want to play? And I tried all of these. I tried all of these combinations. I tried Dinozol, Spherosaurs, Mephistos, Kyriloids. I tried everything to try to figure it out. And the question that always came back to me is, how can I keep the deck consistent? And how can I either improve my good matchups or shore up my weak matchups? So remember the matchups that I care about, that I feel like I have something to do with is King of Victory, which I think is going to be popular. I think Arc is going to be popular, and it's bad. I'm not very strong against it. And I have the mirror match, of course. So the mirror match, I think I've covered pretty well with the Scene and with Belial. So I'm not too concerned with these last cards being with the mirror match. I'm mostly concerned with consistency, not mucking up my deck and not making my deck feel awkward, and also the Arc matchup, because King of Victory is a deck that I already feel comfortable with. So the last one is Arc. Now, Belial, this set of Belial has one key issue, so which is that it can never get higher than 18,000. And Arc happens to be a deck that is very good at building 18,000s and higher, which means if they get the full setup, you cannot do anything about it. You kind of just roll over and die. So Mephisto is a very like keen thing here. Kyriloid is a little bit more consistent than Mephisto, because Mephisto, you'll notice, does not have a BP and EX grade, so you can't do it. So if you draw one Mephisto by itself, you feel bad. You can, boost this one to a 13. It does not the best. So there's a lot of times where, like, if you just have Mephisto, it's kind of useless, and I don't like those feelings. Kyriloid is a bit different, where it's good against Tiga. So if I expect Tiga, then I can play this, and it's going to be really strong. And then it's a nice 10,000. It can always be boosted, so it's much more consistent than Mephisto. And then Dinozol and Spherosaurus are very good if you call things out, and if you have Geet Identity to change your opponent's type. They can just be a one card 15,000, very strong. And both of these have their advantages. So let's, in a sense, I've already, I kind of figured this out after the fact, but in a sense, I've already playing Kyriloids by playing this Belial, because it is a 14,000 double, like a one card that I can bump to 14,000, or a 14,000 double that can go up to 16,000, and I don't really expect to see Tiga. So Kyriloid takes the cut. So then we have to decide what our strategy is versus Arc, and mostly versus Arc. So when we play against Arc, we kind of have two options. We either make it so that we can actually break through their turns where they have a bunch of 18,000s, 18,000, 19,000, or we beat them in all the other lanes. We say, if you can't set up, we win, right? So Dinozol and Spherosaurus, specifically Spherosaurus, is very good at this strategy of, like, I'm just going to play like Spherosaurus in the end game, and you're just going to play a bunch of basic stuff because your whole deck is basic, and I'm going to win those like lanes that you can't set up. So that is this kind of strategy. Dinozol is similar. It catches their doubles more because there's a lot of armed type doubles, and it's a nice 10,000. But in terms of consistency, they can be a little awkward, because if you miss the read, then you need Gate Identity, and Gate Identity is around one scene, which means it's not going to stick around long for a lot of things. Dinozol happens to be very good against King of Victory, so if I want to bully that matchup even more, I can play more Dinozol. So this is kind of like the where I'm at this point of testing. I cannot decide how to fit these last cards in my deck, and Mephisto is the thing that really, like, I really want to play Mephisto, because I do not want to, like, fold to Arc at all. I'd much rather be the one, like, playing Zeton against Omega. It kind of, like, totally crushes Omega when you have that Zeton, promo Zeton. Like, I want to be in that position, not like let my opponents be in that position. So I want a way out from Arc that's not just like, oh, I hope they don't have their setup, right? I want to be able to play around. I want to have that agency. So I thought, is there a way for me to do it? To do something similar to Mephisto, but not use up 8 cards in my deck. Remember, I have 7 cards left in the deck now. And I did find that card. I'm gonna save it because it's a fun card. We're not gonna reveal it just yet. But if you've seen the deck list, you can find the deck list. You can go look it up, right? But okay, so I really wanted to find a way to replace Mephisto. If I could do something similar to Mephisto that will help me win the Arc matchup, even when they get like a really good hand, then but just not use up 8 cards, especially cards that I don't feel great about playing solo, and cards that if I just draw this without the level 5, then I feel really bad. So I ended up finding that card, and I tried playing it at 3. I tried playing it at 4, but it didn't feel necessary. So I ended up playing it with 1, and I'll reveal my secret weapon later. And that gave me extra slots to play Golza, which is a fantastic card. It just becomes a 17,000 and has an EX grade, so you can boost it up. And speed type is not very common in the game. There are some decks that have a lot of speeds, but right now, with the New York meta, I'm not expecting much speed types. So a nice 17,000, a potential 17,000 on one card is absolutely fantastic. So we get those, and then we're in the Sphere Source dinosaur debate. I was doing like 2-2 for a while. So I do 3-2. I did 3 dinosaurs, 1 Sphere Source. I ended up deciding that what I care more about is the Arc matchup, and Sphere Source is good against Arc. There's also a lot of decks that play basics right now, so Sphere Source is generally more good. Dinosaur has its use cases, and the 10,000 is actually really nice because even if you guess wrong, it can force them to play poorly. So, for example, a lot of Scene Search cards and cards that have effects utility on like level 5, like level 5s for kaijus or level 2s for ultra heroes, they're 9,000 power. So even if I guess wrong with Dinosaur, it's at 10,000, I'm still beating them, and I'm pressuring them to go up all the way to a triple. That's like a really key part of playing Belial, is pressuring your opponent to go up to a triple with as few cards as possible, because then it leaves them with less cards later in the game where you have your strong kaijus. So I ended up with 3, and then I have my last 2 cards are like funny tech cards. I'll show you one of them. We're keeping this secret weapon later for the content. And so this is Golza. Golza can send a round 3 or higher to the discard, a round 3 or higher round scene to the discard. This was a last minute addition. This is like the day before, almost 2 days before. So we added a Golza because playing against Gankun and Z Ginga, if the Z scene lands and sticks, it's pretty bad. So we've played games where Gankun can actually discard 2 or 3 cards just to get the Z scene in play, because it makes up for it later, and then he can win. But if I have Golza, he can't safely go for that play, because if he discards 3 cards and then I just pop the scene, then I win. There's also other scenes that are like really strong at round 3, is like Nexus scene. Can't think of much else right now, but like Nexus is a big one. But then also the End of the World, right? Like we talked about the mirror matchup. You really want to be playing next in the mirror matchup. But if your opponent plays End of the World, they can flip multiple lanes and probably win regardless. But Golza lets me say, oh, you did play End of the World, let me just get rid of that before you can activate it. So it gives me a way to like be a little bit more safe in the mirror matchup. It just never came up. So this is like where we ended up with a deck, all the thought that went into it. And now that we've got our deck finalized with our one super secret special weapon, is time to action. Time to action. And this is the I will reveal the final card. This is the clutch card for the deck. It is the Alien Metron. This is what brought the whole deck together. When it's played, you can reveal the top card of your opponent's deck, and if it's an ultra hero, you can get one of your characters plus 1,000. So this is the key card where you can match up your Belial as an 18,000 versus an Arc 18,000, and this is the 1,000 that bumps it to 19,000 or 19,000. Just like Mephisto is able to bump to 19,000, I get to have that effect on one card. It only takes up 1 spot in my deck. I have room for all these powerful cards like Spherosaurus, Dinosaur, Golba. It gives me a lot more flexibility. So this is the card that brought it all together. It is my super secret special weapon against Arc. Time to lock it in and get over to New York. It's finally the day of the New York City World Championships qualifiers, and we've got 26 people total. That's going to mean 5 rounds of Swiss into a top 8 cut. Our goal is top 4. That's going to give us an invite to the World Championships. That's what we promised Gankun we were aiming for this whole time. If we win, we'll get a sponsored invite, which would be great, but we're really going for that top 4. Our goal for the Swiss rounds is to get 4 wins and 1 loss. That will guarantee us into the top 8. If we lose 2 and have 3 wins, then it might get a little shaky, so let's try not to do that. Round 1, I face off against Zahn. It's my Baltan versus his Ginga victory. I start off the game a little nervous. I don't have Mil Baltan. I've already mentioned that's the glue that holds this deck together. Without Mil Baltan, Zahn is able to play super aggressive and win on turn 3. Yikes, not how I wanted to start this tournament off. Game 2, again, my Baltan versus Zahn's Omega Hikari. I haven't seen this combination used much, so I have to stay on my toes. Zahn starts off with a really strong first few turns, but the last 2 turns get a bit shaky, and I'm able to close out the game with the Lobster Menace. In Game 3, it's going to be my Belial versus his Omega Hikari. Normally, Belial is great against Omega because I have Promo Zeton. That becomes a 20,000 beast when my opponent only has 1 Ultra Hero, which Omega normally does. But the Hikari edition is going to save him from my tactics. I open a pretty decent hand. It's 3 triple rare Belials, and if I send that back with Mulligan, I'm not going to get those back. So I got to keep it even though it's a little shaky. Luckily, the cards come together for me, and I'm able to take the win for round 1. Up 1 win, 0 losses. In round 2, I play against Teller. We've talked a bit on the Discord, and it's game 1, Baltan versus Ginga victory again. I'm starting to really not like this Baltan deck. I open up no Mil Baltan yet again. Are you kidding me? Teller is putting the pressure on big time, and I'm trying to find my Mil Baltan, but it does not show up. And I make a crucial mistake discarding one of my level 6s in the early game to look for that Mil Baltan. And later in the game, I'm stuck with level 5s. I don't have a level up, and I lose the game. In game 2, Teller brings out her Arc Ginga. Now, I'm okay with this matchup, but I think Baltan does really well against it, except we have a problem. No Mil Baltan yet again. Are you kidding me? I had to go for some non-optimal plays to try to get for my Mil Baltan, and I managed to get it, but it puts me in a really awkward spot. Teller has a level 2 Ginga on the field, which could become a problem if she gets the level 3 and has another double. She sets up the top of her deck to get the level 3, but doesn't have the level 2, and I'm able to take the win off that 1 turn of weakness. In game 3, it's Belial versus Arc Ginga. I'm a little worried about this one because it is one of my bad matchups, but we'll just have to see what we can do. I go for a heavy read play, thinking she'll play 3 arcs in a row, which means she'll be victim to my Promo Zeton. It works out. I'm able to catch the rest of the lanes with some weak plays and close out with my super secret tech, Alien Metron, giving plus 1000 to my original Belial lane, making it too strong for the Arcai Sword to compete with. Moving on to round 3. It's getting a little stressful with going against Jeff or Jedge. Game 1, he flips over Belial into my Baltan. I've already mentioned this is horrible, so I get the win. Belial versus Belial in the mirror match, but remember, my deck is teched out for the mirror match. I'm able to play smartly and get the clutch with 2 triple rares to my opponent's 1 triple rare. That's a great way to win the mirror match, so a clean 2-0 against Jeff. Round 4, Tim's Kaiju Palooza. I'm kind of expecting some more Kaijus from this guy. Again, game 1 is a Baltan versus Belial. And you know how that goes. Game 2, Belial versus Belial. My opponent has a bit of a worse hand than me and is struggling to get something going, so it's an easy capitalization for a turn 3 victory. At this point in the tournament, we're at 4 wins and 0 losses. That means we've guaranteed a spot in the top 8. So there's a little bit of pressure off for this final round, and it happens to be none other than Gankun. You know, this tournament's been going how we want to. We play in the finals. That means we're not going to be paired up against each other in top 8, giving us both a chance to qualify. We start off against a Baltan versus Baltan. We know how this goes. The coin flip kind of determines this one. I win the coin flip. I go next. What can you do? We win that one. Then it's my Baltan versus his Belial. We've been through this. I've been on the winning side. Now I'm on the losing side. And we move to game 3. A my Belial versus Gankun Z Ginga. We both start off this game pretty strong, but Gankun gets a little shaky starting to turn 3, and I'm able to close out the rest of the game with my strong Kaijus. So we end the Swiss rounds undefeated, 5 wins, 0 losses. I am number 1, feeling good, but the fight isn't over yet. I came to qualify for the World Championships, and only the top 4 players qualify, which means I have one more all-important round to play. Top 8. I'm playing against Pi. It's my Baltan versus Pi's Rosso Blue. This is pretty scary. Rosso Blue is a tricky deck to fight against because it keeps a lot of cards in its hand, ready to activate like trap cards. But I'm able to maneuver around potential trap cards and eventually take the game. For game 2, it's my Belial versus Pi's Rosso Blue. And I go for a similar strategy. The Rosso Blue deck uses a lot of scene cards, so I don't want to let them have the lead. I dominate the lead lane, and Pi's hand eventually crumbles. I'm able to capitalize and take the win. Top 4. We did it. We qualified for Worlds, but there's still a tournament to play. Maybe we can get that first place. We play against Evan, a Baltan versus Baltan mirror match again. I win the coin flip again. We're going on to game 2, up 1 game. Game 2, it's my Belial versus the Baltan yet again, and we've been here before. Belial gets dominated by Baltan, except Evan leaves me a small opening, and I'm able to use a Belial activation to take the game. Now we're in the finals. We're going to be going up against Muscle Robo for the finals match to get that sponsored invite and become the first USA World Qualifier champion. Game 1, Baltan versus Ginga victory. It's been the Baltan show all day. I've been drawing the mill Baltan every game except for those first 2 matches, and this game is no exception. Ginga victory is not the Baltan killer everyone says it is. I'm sorry to say that. We close out a nice game 1. In game 2, it's my Belial versus Muscle Rob's Ginga victory. Turn 3, I'm able to play some nice defense so I can conserve the cards in my hand. In turn 4, I think I have the win with 2 Belial levels ups, but Muscle Rob has played excellently, getting 4 doubles. Means his Ginga is an 18k. I'm not going to be able to win this game, so I use one effect to stay in the game, and we move to the all-important turn 5. My turn 5 beats Muscle Rob's turn 5. I'm able to use one more activation for the win, and I become the champion of the first ever USA World Qualifier tournament. Huge shout out to the wonderful New York City community for being so welcome, and Silk Gaming for hosting. It's a great shop. If you're ever in New York City, definitely stop by. Huge congratulations to the other qualifiers, Muscle Rob, Yankun, and Evan, and especially for Muscle Rob being a homie in the finals match. Really good sportsmanship. Of course, also shout outs to the Phantom 6th man for this run is Shane, who let me borrow the Baltan week deck 2 weeks before the tournament. And my MVP today was my 3-year-old son, who kept his little chaos, his little crazy under control so I could focus all day, and for the community for helping entertain him. And my final thank you has to be to Gankun, my training partner, content buddy. We did a ton of practice games. I ran him through the ringer. And he had to deal with me messaging him every day before the tournament, the whole week before the tournament, every night. I'm like, should I play this? Should I play that? What do you think about this ratio? What do you think about that? And he's just like, man, I don't know. But it worked out for me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in Japan.